0 goals against in the 6 starts that he has had of the Soviet 7 games. The bad news for Team Canada, Kirk Muller is out, an injury to his right knee. He will not play in this game. The referee is J.Kompalla of West Germany, the linesman Т.Мострём of Sweden, and L.Ванханен of Finland. The Soviets coming out of their own zone. That's big Fetisov. He clears it in over the line. The Soviets shoot it in there, and it is Gosselin down to make the big save. Fetisov just slid it in there, and all alone moving in, Vladimir.
Well, that shows right off the bat the speed of the Soviets. Just breaking around the outside of the defense. James Patrick caught a little flat-footed here. Going across, Gosselin stays with Makarov all the way across the net and makes a super save. This early in the hockey game was a big save at this point.
Against the boards now, it's Bartel trying to get away from the checking in against the boards by Krutov. Cleared to the far side, and it's Patrick. Patrick behind the net, Tippett off the boards. Bartel having problems. He is on the limp inside the zone. The Soviets clear to the side of the net, and it's Tippett who gets it away and takes it to the far side. Bartel still on the limp and heading for the bench as Canada clears it in over the line. Tippett doing a lot of checking against Fetisov. Fetisov behind the net. Lead pass out to center ice. Come the Soviets now. Larionov clearing it to the line. Behind the net now. Driver going after it. Number 25 for Canada. Driver being checked in there. Homotov is in there. Number 15 for the Soviets. A rink-wide pass, and Canada is out to center ice with Lidster. Clearing it into the Soviet zone. Stельнов, the rookie, back to get it for the Soviets. To the far side, and out they come now. Homotov at center ice. The pass to Gerasimov. Gerasimov can't hold it against the checking. Donnelly's back there. They tip it along the boards. Now behind the net. Lidster along the boards. Still kept in. Starikov into the corner behind the net for Gerasimov. Gerasimov along the board, and it rolls all the way out to center ice, and the Soviets will regroup. Number 12 there is Starikov. Rink wide. To the line. Canadian territory. Driver gets it to center ice. Kerry Wilson ahead. Flatley. Flatley just backhands it around the boards. For the Soviets, Igor Stельнов. Stельнov along the boards, playing without the helmet, is Homotov. A rink-wide pass for Gerasimov. Drozdetsky's in over the line. He leaves the puck for Shepelev, who goes to the goal mouth, but missed the net with that. And out to center ice it comes once again. Leading the rush, this is Kortnell. Kortnell trying to work for the net, and it's taken away from him. Some good work by Vladimir. Back come the Soviets. Gerasimov. He's checked out of the play, and the puck winds up behind the net now. Around the boards, Redmond. Far side just chopped out to center ice by Gagne. Back to get it for the Soviets, Vladimir. Vladimir on the wing for Timunev. Timunev against the boards, number 28, back near the line, and it winds up at center ice on the stick of Terbukin. Vladimir, Terbukin once again, and he had it go off the board checking of Kortnell. Gagne's in there now. Gagne trying to roll it out in front of the net. Denin is there, but he couldn't get a shot away, and the Soviets again bring it back. Good tempo early in this game. Over the line for the Soviets, Timunev. Timunev up against the board, back to the blue line. Fetisov moving in now, and it's checked away from him. The Soviets controlling it inside the zone, and it's popped free and cleared against the boards and out to center ice. And Timunev back to get it inside his own zone. We've already played 3 minutes and 22 seconds here in the first period. No score. Fetisov out to center ice now. Timunev over the line, offside, and we'll have a face-off outside the Team Canada blue line.
Only the second whistle in 3.5 minutes in the hockey game, and one of the things that the Soviet team likes to do, they have 20 players dressed. They play all 4 lines, equal time.
For the Soviet Union, Vladimir Kovin at skinned area. Finland is leading West Germany 2-1 in one of the lower medal. This is not a medal round game, but the second division of the tournament. Finland 2, West Germany 1. Big Fetisov back in his own zone, number 2. Fetisov checked up against the boards inside the zone. It is sent to center ice. Vasiliev, Skvortsov back to Vasiliev. Cruises in over the line, takes a bump from Driver. It winds up in the corner. Tippett's in there, so is Driver. Driver loses it, and the puck is cleared to an open wing, and there's going to be a penalty to Team Canada as Fetisov inside the blue line. The goaltender is out of the net now as Makarov comes off the bench. Makarov is the extra man. Drops it off. Number 9 is Krutov. Krutov leaves it for Fetisov. Fetisov at center ice now. Fetisov to the line. He can move it. Fetisov moving in against the boards. Carries that puck around behind the net. And finally, Team Canada picks it up. A reminder for the stations to check your log. This is break number 1. And we're going to take a break right now. Coverage of the 14th Winter Olympics. We'll continue in Soviet Union on the power play. Driver off for slashing. Here's a shot off the shoulder of Gosselin. It's batted out near the line, but kept in. Now Makarov against the boards on this side. Makarov tried to set up now. He's got Fetisov at the point, but he leaves it at the side of the net for Krutov, and then who in turn gives it back to Makarov. Now it is Fetisov. Makarov against the boards. Now moves it out on the far side. That's Kazatonov. Kazatonov. Fetisov to the side of the net now. Makarov in front. Trying to get it, it was Larionov. He gave the puck off, and it is high in the air. It winds up behind the net. And the Soviets again control. Krutov. Krutov into the corner. Circling with that puck is Larionov, number 11. Out now to Kazatonov. Had trouble handling it near the line. Feeds it into the corner. Makarov back to Fetisov. Fetisov moving away from a check. There's a shot right on, and it was a blast and a good save by Gosselin. Out near the blue line now. First shot of the hockey game. Kazatonov on this side. They switch those defensemen back and forth. Larionov. Larionov circling near the line now. Backhand pass to Kazatonov. He's now playing on this side. Kazatonov in for Krutov. Krutov into the corner. They move this puck around. Larionov's got the puck. Larionov working in front of the net. Drops it off for Kazatonov into Makarov. Back to Kazatonov. Now Makarov, number 24, fakes it. Now give it and go, but they don't give it to him. They give it to the point, and Kazatonov fakes the shot. Gets away from the defense and shot it in there, and it's deflected up against the glass behind the net. Now here's Krutov into the slot, and the shot is wide. Fetisov moving in. 19 seconds left in the power play. In behind the net now. They've left this unit out there for the whole power play. Larionov, number 11, out to Kazatonov. Back to the corner. Makarov, Larionov, back to Makarov. He's in the corner. 2 seconds left in the penalty, and they clear it in front, but there's nobody there. It's Fetisov pinched in, and the penalty is over, and Canada successfully killed it. Inside their own zone, Krutov. Krutov cutting in front of his own net. These guys are pretty tired. They've been out there for the whole penalty. Krutov still there. Feeds it behind the net for Fetisov. Ahead now at center ice. The Soviets on the attack again as Drozdetsky gets it in over the line. Gerasimov on this side, circling with the puck near the blue line. Now back near the line, kept in by Starikov. It winds up in the corner, and Team Canada brings it out. Flatley at center ice, tried to get it ahead for Kerry Wilson, but Starikov came across, took the puck away, but couldn't get it out of the zone. Now Wilson going in against number 22 for the Soviets, Stельнов. Stельнов a rink-wide pass for Gerasimov. Also in there and clearing it around the boards is Darren Lowe on the far side now. Canada with Flatley getting it out to center ice. Back in his own zone, Starikov out at center ice. Drozdetsky to the line now. That is Gerasimov. He's checked in against the boards by Lidster. Behind the net it goes. Canada with Driver out to center ice off the stick of Kevin Dineen. Up against the boards, Portno, Driver, now over the line, comes Dineen, gets set, the shot drifted over top of the net. In the corner, cleared along the boards, out to center ice come the Soviets now. Long time between whistles as Chumanev clears it in over the line. He takes a check as he does so by Driver. Puck is in the corner. Back out near the line, Billy Litvinov behind the net. Check, Drozdetsky is number 13, gets it in the corner. He's checked by Driver, is doing a good job out there. Now digging it loose is Chumanev. Back behind the net now. That is Khomutov, rolls into the side of the net. That's poked out of harm's way by Craig Redmond. Now in the corner, it is Chumanev, number 28. Back out to the blue line. Billy Litvinov's shot went off Redmond as he was cruising in front of the net. Redmond's got it behind the net, and he pins it in and holds it.
Team Canada's just been under tremendous pressure. The Soviets have kept control so very, very long. There have been few whistles. The Soviet team, of course, really is able to pass the puck, and they can skate, and they're just controlling the puck as long as they possibly can.
In the morning, Eastern Standard Time in Canada. Sunday morning at 4 Eastern Time, Canada meeting Sweden, beginning an unprecedented day of Olympic coverage on CTV. Watch for it. Face-off is deep in the Team Canada end now. Soviets have had the pressure on, but they've had limited number of shots so far. They've just moved that puck around and around. Now against the board, that's Kovin. Kovin back to the blue line. The shot by Kazatonov is wide of the net, or is deflected wide of the net. Skvortsov. This is the fourth line for the Soviets out there. Skvortsov along with Kovin and Vasiliev. And it's cleared back to the Soviet line, and Kazatonov is there to Vasiliev. Vasiliev ahead, and it's deflected off the stick of Skvortsov, and back to get it is James Patrick. Patrick off the glass and down the ice. And to get it will be Kazatonov. He's number 7. He plays generally. Back underway here. Soviet Union has a 5-0 shots on goal edge. The puck is pinned into the corner there. Makarov along with Darren Lowe. No score in the game. We passed the midway point of nearing the midway point of the first period.
Well, another problem for Team Canada. Robin Bartel hurt his ankle in the first shift. He tried to take the second shift when the team was shorthanded. He has now left the bench, and if Team Canada doesn't play Anderson in this game, they'll be down to 4 defensemen, and 4 defensemen trying to play the Soviet team with 4 forward lines the way they skate. That's an awful lot of pressure for 4 young hockey players.
Well, false start on the face-off. There is the all-star line at last year's World Tournament. The line of Larionov, Krutov, and Makarov. And we have what they call the green unit here. And that unit was all-star. First all-star team at the World Tournament in Munich last season. We'll let you know when all 5 of them are out there. It's really something to play whistle, and Makarov touches it just inside the line, so we'll get another face-off. There you see him, Sergei Makarov. High scorer in the Soviet Union, but he's been hurt a bit this year, and he's not the leading scorer this year.
There in the middle of your picture watching the game, the Czechoslovakian coach, an interested spectator, and then their 2 defensemen, but their 1 forward is always backing up defensemen who press and come down into the attack.
Bilyaletdinov inside his own blue line, clearing it rink wide. It's out over center ice. Pervukin getting it down to the Canadians' line. Back now to Bilyaletdinov. Swinging around and along the blue line is Gerasimov. And it's shot right back into the Team Canada zone. Lidster back there, number 4 for Canada, around behind the net. Canada trying to organize now. It's cleared off the stick of Dave Gagne all the way down the ice. And back for it is Bilyaletdinov. And ice bridge of the 18th Winter Olympics will continue in a... And from the face-off, Team Canada again gets it down the ice into the Soviet zone. Skvortsov back in his own zone. Drozdetsky's number 13 out over the line, and he is upended. And the puck is cleared back out to center ice, and a little bit of a dive, I thought, in that one. And the referee didn't go for it either. J.Kompalla is in over the line once again. Kojevnikov, who is the leading scorer in the Soviet Union right now. Kojevnikov, who plays for Spartak. Jammed in against the corner. Down goes Craig Redmond. Trying to dig it loose is Dan Wood. From behind the net. Cleared off the boards near the line. Moving in after it is Kazatonov, but it winds up down the ice. Will go back for it, number 2. Fetisov at the side of his own net. Team Canada makes a complete change. At center ice. Fetisov moving in. At that great speed, and he rolls it out into the slot. There's the shot. Hits somebody in front of the net, and Team Canada breaks out very quickly with Kerry Wilson. Wilson going 1-on-1 against Kazatonov, and he got a weak shot away. Kazatonov collects it in the corner. Clears it along the boards. It winds up out at center ice, and Darren Lowe is there. Daigneault on defense now for Team Canada. Lidster off the boards for Wilson. Wilson just rolling it down to the line, and it's steered right back out to center ice for Stельнов. Stельnov to Starikov. Over the line for Vasiliev. Vasiliev's quick shot. And the save is made by Gosselin, and he just holds on with the Soviets beginning to pour in on him. Well, there's a look down at the, what is that, the Team Canada bench? No, it is not the Team Canada bench. It's the Soviet bench, and that looks like Kojevnikov, who's being worked upon down there. Well, there he is. Fellow who's become very, very popular in Sarajevo, Mario Gosselin. Popular among Canadians, obviously, with the tremendous performance he's put in, but also very popular with the locals here.
He's one of the keys to the hockey game tonight, because Team Canada can play tight defensive hockey. The Soviets are always controlling the puck, and in that style of game, you've got to have good goaltending.
Ball start again on the face-off, and they'll do it all over again. Kovin's number 31 out there to take the draw. There you see him. Kovin, who made his debut in the 1976 Canada Cup, but has been in and out of favor in the Soviet Union. This is his first World or Olympic tournament. Played some of our big series, but never big series for the Soviets. Skvortsov now, number 26. Around the net on the far side, back out to the point. There's the shot by Starikov. It was a screen shot, and it was wide of the net. Vasiliev along the boards, taking a hit from Patrick. Moving in is Kovin. Kovin takes a hit from Deneen, manages to maintain possession. He's used that strength along the boards. Down he goes, but collecting it is now Stельнов. Stельнов behind the net for Vasiliev. Vasiliev trying to roll it out in front. That hit Driver, I think, in the face. He gets up. The puck goes in front of the net. The defenseman out of the play. Now here's Driver picking it up, and he'll get the whistle. And he is hurt, and he's going off the ice. Going back to touch it is number 22 for the Soviet. Puck cleared into the Soviet end. Back for the Soviets is Anatoly Bielyanov against the boards, being checked. Gets it loose, takes it out, throws it out to center ice for Karutov. Karutov cutting across the blue line, tried to roll it in front, hit a player. I think that was Lidster. And out of center ice comes Team Canada now. Back in over the line. For Canada, Wood clearing it into the corner, but the Soviets again get it with Bielyanov. Ahead now. It is Karutov getting it from Larionov. Cuts in front of the net. What a save is made by Gosselin. Tremendous save as he went across the green on the play. Now here's Larionov. In against the boards on the far side. They clear it in. Gosselin just shovels it into the corner now. Soviets attacking as Makarov is taken out of the play. Lidster's in there and it winds up back at center ice and Bielyanov once again. Larionov working to the line. He's out there with Karutov and Makarov. The puck deflects up into the crowd and will have a face-off.
Well, Team Canada short those defensemen, and we saw Driver also go off the ice. So there's Driver, but I'm sure he's going to be back. But Bartel and Driver, two left defensemen gone. Team Canada are now playing Denyo, who they've been using on the forward line. He's now moved back to play defense. Under an awful lot of pressure, the defense score is a little short.
Well, there's Viktor Tikhonov, 49 years of age now. Played defense with Dynamo and retired as an active player in 1966. And then moved up through the nether regions of the Soviet League to take over this hockey club. Back in over the line for the Soviets is Shepelev. Cuts in front. It's loose at the side of the net. And again, the save is made by Gosselin. Got his glove down in front of that one. Now behind the net for Canada is Daigneault. Daigneault trying to work it to the corner. Gets it back again in the corner, but he's checked behind the net by Gerasimov. Now just shoveled into the corner on the far side, and out comes Patrick. A rink-wide pass past the outstretched stick of Darren Lowe. And back to get it is Kazatonov, and he touches it for the icing. There's Darren Lowe from the University of Toronto. Has played very, very well.
If you turn the puck over, they don't give it back to you. They control it until they get an opportunity. They move it down to your zone. So you can't just give the puck away for no reason at all. You've got to try to be positive. You've got to make a play with that puck.
So the face-off, Tyomenev for the Soviet Union, but he doesn't win the draw against Deneen, and it winds up behind the net. No score in this hockey game right now. At center ice, moving up on the play is Cardinal over the line, but he just couldn't get past Starikov. Now here's a shot, deflected just wide. Cruising in front of the net for Canada was Gagne, and it's against the board. Soviets starting out now with Stельнов. Stельнов out to center ice, but Drozdetsky, he just tapped it back to his defense. Now back in over the line comes Drozdetsky. Drozdetsky around behind the net, tried to roll it in front, gets it again, and shot it high to the glove side of Gosselin, took it off his shoulder. Puck bounces up over the glass, and it's called for a face-off. CTV is the place to be. Olympic Winter Games. And don't forget our unprecedented telecast, 4 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time, 1 in the West, as Canada meets Sweden, likely for the bronze medal. We'll be doing it live for you. Bernie Pascal and Tom will be here at the Centra to bring you the telecast. Will be a much-awaited game, of course. Canada looking for its first medal in Olympic play since 1968 at Grenoble. Puck is jammed against the boards and pinned in there by Patrick.
Well, look at Tippett out there again. Here are all the face-offs in your own zone. Tippett, as we've seen throughout this tournament, James Patrick there behind. Tippett won the face-off back to him. The Soviets putting lots of pressure on. He had to hold the puck against the boards to get the draw.
There's Patrick going after it again as Tippett wins the draw. It lines up in the corner. Carpin trying to get it out to center ice, but it is shoveled on the backhand deep into the Canadian zone again by Skvortsov. Here comes Canada once again, starting out of the zone. The rink-wide pass by Redmond. Hustling in after it for Canada is Wood. He clears it back, and the Soviets start out once again at center ice. It is Skvortsov. Skvortsov over the line now, ducking away from a check, maintains that possession, drops it in now. Here's the shot coming into a crowd in front. That was Vasiliev cutting in front, but he just couldn't get his stick on it. And they wrestled for it against the...
Ball seems to be more seriously injured.
Shots on goal, and in this particular instance, they tell exactly the state of this hockey game at this point. 9-1 favor the Soviets, and they've had some real testers for Mario Gosselin so far. Here's Karutov back over the line. The shot by the defenseman Kazatonov is wide of the net, dug out against the boards by Larionov, but he put it right on Flatley's stick. And out comes Team Canada once again with Lidster over the line now, drops it off. Here's a shot, and a good one by Flatley. Back near the line now, shot in, and a good shot there by Daniel, but he stick-handled it at the line and put himself offside.
Well, the puck just took a little jump and came back out over the line. He's nodding in agreement. He's a little mad at himself there. It just bounced over his stick. We would have had a little bit of room to get that puck through. And, of course, Tretiak, who we see on our screen, has been just magnificent throughout this tournament. Although the Soviet team has controlled the puck so well that the opposition really haven't had that many good opportunities against them.
They have what they call the green unit out there now. The 6 players who are on the ice for the Soviet Union right at this moment were the 6 All-Stars. Nobody cracked the Soviet machine last year, the All-Stars at the World Tournament. And, of course, Canada had some NHLers at the tournament, including Daryl Sittler and the like. But what they call the green unit here. They play as a unit. They practice as a unit. They wear green sweaters in their practices. There you see him. Larionov, the All-Star setter. Karutov, Makarov, the wingers. Fetisov, here's a chance for Canada. It's off the shoulder of Tretiak, lines up in the corner. The other defenseman is Kazatonov, and it's Fetisov against the boards. He's pinned in there. Canada getting it down inside the zone now. Flatley, this is the offensive line for Canada, and they're doing a job in there right now. Flatley, backhanding it to Kerry Wilson. Wilson back near the line now. Feeds it rink wide. Nifty pass on the far side. Now Lidster moving in, and they force Tretiak to make a save. Still inside the zone, and Fetisov loses the puck to Wilson, who shoots it wide of the net. And it winds up back down at the blue line. Makarov in there for checking, but Daigneault cleared it away. Here's Daigneault now. He's got excellent acceleration at center ice. He feeds it off the stick of Deneen, and it winds up deep inside the Soviet zone. Fetisov, rink-wide pass to Makarov at center ice. Checked up against the boards. Moving up now is Redmond, and he shoots it back in there again. Tretiak leaving it behind the net. Kazatonov in turn for Shepelev. Fetisov stick handling along the line. That is Homotov. He clears it in. Gosselin around the boards, but there's Fetisov on the far board, just ducking past the checking of Driver. Feeds it in deep now. Knocks off the puck as Drozdetsky as he tried to get free. Correct that. That is Gerasimov at the side of the net. Cleared in against the boards on this side now. And it's chopped down the ice by Team Canada. As getting to the puck first was Dave Gagne. Back to get it will be Shepelev, and icing is called.
Well, the last shift just gave it right to Kerry Wilson, and his drive was wide of the net. But the best offensive series for Team Canada in the game.
Some all-world performance out there by the 5 All-Stars. They got pinned back in their own zone. Can happen to anybody, I guess. Out there for Team Canada right now, and taking the draw is Tippett. Seems like he's always there in those face-offs deep in the zone. Canada again, as Tippett has won it. Controlled it at center ice. Cleared in by Patrick. Hustling in after it now as Donnelly gets it out in front, or tried to, but it went off a leg, and he took a good hit behind the net by Stельнов. Now Starikov, number 12 for the Soviets. Clears it out to center ice. It's tapped back past to Homotov. Starikov again through center ice, intercepted. Lidster, 2 good moves over the line now. Lidster into the corner, tried to roll it in front. Donnelly's there, but he is ridden behind the net. They battle for it back there. That is Dan Wood behind the net. Wood stripped from him by Homotov. Now swinging away from a check is Stельнов, number 22. Out to center ice now, reaching for it, Shepelev, but he's failed, and the checking gets very, very close out there right now. Gerasimov over the line, Drozdetsky. Drozdetsky in front of the net, and that time it was Gosselin who stripped it away. Acted as his own defenseman. Out at center ice, Canada try to hustle over the line. Flatley try to get loose, unable to. Soviets, they drop it off, and here they come once again with Chumanev at center ice. Dropping it off, Drozdetsky, his shot is wide. Canada with Lowe against the boards. Out to center ice. It's collected out there by Bilyaletdinov. Swinging back into his own zone, Perbukin. Bilyaletdinov on this side now. Number 14. Litvinov through center ice. Gerasimov, the far side. Drozdetsky behind the net now. Kojevnikov tried to get it out in front and went right to the far boards and out to center ice. Karvukin, number 5. Back to the Soviets, trying to set up in their own zone now. Karvukin had his stick knocked out of his hands by Kerry Wilson. Good work, Kerry. Back in over the line now come the Soviets with Kojevnikov shooting it in, and the save again is made by Gosselin. Backhanded out near the line, and Canada breaks out on a 3-on-2. Down to the line now, in front. Wilson dropping it off. Tried to get it there to Driver. Here's Wilson again, moving in. He shot and he was upended as he went down. He got a shot away, but it hit the player in front. The period has ended. We've got another. From the face-off, number 7 for the Soviets is Alexei Kazatonov. He leads the rush himself over the line, and it's just chopped away by Tippett. And Fetisov follows up, and he has the player trapped in Karutov, and so
along the line, forcing a face-off again. But, you know, that's a very defensive game. Now we're down 2-0. What do? Do you open up? You hope that you get back in the game with a power play goal or like Driver coming out of the penalty box? Or do you continue to play the good, tight defensive hockey that we were playing and we were frustrating the Soviets? What do? Do you stay that way or do you go all out to get the goals? I think at this point, being down 2-0, you continue to play your own game and hope that we'll get back in the game, say a power play goal or getting an opportunity to score one.
Shepelev out there to take the draw against Tippett. Shots on goal, 8-3 in this period for the Soviets. They have an 18-7 margin at this point in the hockey game. And we have 3 minutes and 12 seconds remaining here in the second period. 2-0, Soviets lead. Kojevnikov getting the goal from Drozdetsky. Now Stельнов in the corner. Trying to get loose around the net to Starikov. Starikov starting up on the right wing board, still carrying that puck, splits his way through, he's alone, the save is made again by Gosselin. What a game this kid has had. Now Daigneault is playing up front, he's got a man in front of him, he can get it to him, Driver throws it into the crowd in front, but it hit a leg and the Soviets come right back out again. Down over the line for the Soviet Union, Gerasimov. He chases it all the way into the corner. Now after it is Shepelev. Shepelev clearing it in front. It deflects off a stick. Molotov couldn't reach it. Starikov moves in. They go into the boards with Lidster and Starikov jamming there, and it's held for a face-off. Coverage of the 14th Winter Olympics will continue. Here's Kevin Lowe coming through center ice with the puck, hits the line, then it's Wilson trailing on the play, drops it back near the line. The Soviets hustle right after it. Drozdetsky trying to get loose. Good defensive work there by Lidster as he reached around him and took it away from him. The Soviets from their own line now. Lidster moving up, shoots it in. The Soviets will regroup with Litvinov. Litvinov leaving it off. The lead pass, Drozdetsky. He hits the line, chased out of the play momentarily by Driver, follows it in behind the net. Lowe is in there checking on Drozdetsky, and it's Patrick. Patrick, center ice for the rink-wide pass for Courtnall. Courtnall stopping up against the board, trying to clear it in front, and winding up in the net is Gagne. And as he was checked in there, the Soviets start out, having trouble getting out of the netting. Now down over the line, trying to get loose and around the official there was Skvortsov, and Team Canada takes over. Patrick. Ahead for Gagne. He had a man at the line, but he was offside. He got the pass to him, but Courtnall had got a half a step inside the blue line, so the faceoff will be outside the Soviet line.
Well, we saw the Team Canada player trying to get out of the net, and we should remind the fans at home that the nets here are a little different. They don't bind the twine as tight. Here we see the opportunity trying to sneak through here and get the opportunity to go to Tretiak, but the nets are a little different. There's an apron that hangs down because they don't bind the twine as tight in the back of the net, and it hangs down from the roof of the net. And sometimes goaltenders, even if they get too far back in the net, they catch their skates in. And we saw the Team Canada man in the net. His skate was caught. He couldn't get back to back check to get back into his own zone.
Tippett taking the draw at center ice against Kovin. Fetisov. Fetisov loses it inside the line and clears it in front. Now here's a chance. They shot it just wide. Donnelly in front of the net. Lidster now moves in. From behind the net, here's Fetisov, who I have not been impressed with in this game. Tom, he is struggling a little bit. We're used to seeing a lot better from him. Now out near the line, Kovin moving in against the boards. Vasiliev Tippett. Tippett circling in the corner now. He starts out. Lead pass. Donnelly couldn't knock it down. It's back inside the zone, and Kazatonov got it to Fetisov. Fetisov, a rink-wide pass. Kovin over the line. Skворцов. Skворцov trying to get it in front for Kovin, and it's taken away, and Wilson's got it again. Canada continues to check very, very well. We're in the final minute of the period. 23 seconds left as in the corner, Patrick. Patrick away from the check there from Vasiliev to Wilson. Wilson, time for one more rush here. 13 seconds left. Wilson goes over the line, but he's stopped just as he hit the line by Kazatonov along with Larionov. And Lowe has got it. Lowe, driver, and with 3 seconds left, he shoots it in, and it's steered into the corner by Tretiak, and that's the period. And Canada with a situation in the third period where they have to get back a couple of goals.
We played well defensively, but now we haven't scored a goal in 5 periods. We've got to get on the score sheet here somehow to get back in this hockey game.
2-0.
What a scoring opportunity for Bruce Driver as he steps out of the penalty box, and the 21-year-old native of Toronto moves in, and Tretiak, who has a goals against average and even one so far in the Olympics, makes the save. But a glorious scoring opportunity by Driver. Now the Soviets take the lead. The puck comes back to number 22, Stельнов. Mario Gosselin makes the save. There's a scramble in front of the net. Gosselin is down, and Vladimir Kovin right there gets his 5th goal of the Olympic Games. Unfortunate circumstance for Mario Gosselin. He stretched out, and he just couldn't reach the loose puck. Drozdetsky and Alexander Kojevnikov also combined on scoring to make it 2-0. Alexander Kojevnikov
People forget that, and that was the 4-3 loss to the Soviet Union, which forced them into a silver medal position. They're undefeated through this tournament. They were undefeated through the 1968 tournament, undefeated through the 64 tournament as well. In 76, they were undefeated, 5-0. Well, we're underway here in the third period. Canada is trailing by just 2-0. We'll see what happens as Karutov shoots it in, deflected into the corner by Gosselin. Larionov in there, number 11, clears it in front. There's Krutov, but he couldn't get the shot away. Craig Redmond along the boards, and he clears it down the ice, and back to get it will be Fetisov. In there also is Wood, but Fetisov touches it at the 34-second mark of the third period. We'll have a face-off in the Team Canada end. As you see, Vyacheslav Fetisov.
When they've had the puck at the point with the man advantage, they haven't handled it all that well, while the Soviets have been on the power play.
Now from the face-off, taking it loose, working away from a check. As Darren Lowe gets it to the line, but not out, as just backhanding it in there is Shepelev. The side of the net. The player goes down back of that net. That was Lidster under some checking. Now Lidster's on his feet, picks up the puck, goes to the corner under a great deal of checking pressure, and he left it behind. He's out at center ice with the puck, backhands it into the corner. Flatley moving in. Flatley takes a good hit behind the net from Stельнов to the side of the net. The Soviets starting off with Starikov out to center ice, and it's deflected down into the Canadian zone by Homotov. Wilson, Gary Wilson, Canada's top scorer in this tournament, beats it off for Darren Lowe. It was just ahead of him. Starikov collects it inside his own blue line. At center ice. The Soviet moving in now, trying to get loose as he got in there. Took a bit of a hook with Stельнов. Now Lidster. Lidster being checked. Trying to control it against the boards, and he holds it there, and we'll have a face-off. There's Krutov sitting on the bench. The guy that Bob Gainey says he thinks is the best hockey player on this team in the Soviet Union. He likes his desire especially. That's from a fellow that was once called by a Soviet coach the best hockey player in the world.
Well, we saw Stельнов being hooked deep in the zone, and one of the things the Soviet defensemen do very, very well is they're not afraid to move up in the play. They attack with all 5 players, the forwards and the defensemen.
Here's the line now, and he put himself offside, did Billy Letonov, and with that they'll bring the face-off outside the blue line. Well, the Soviet Union is to see Kevin Dineen, and what a rough new year he has had. He has got a shoulder that is going to have to be operated on, and there's Darren Lowe. He's had his own problems here. He took a whack across the mouth in the game the other night. Game against Czechoslovakia, and now he's wearing a face guard. Now the Soviets grouping in their own zone with Pervukin. Back for Billy Letonov. He starts out on a bad pass out over center ice, intended for Drozdetsky. Dineen just brings it right back in. It's clear to the side of the net. Courtnall's in there. Courtnall trying to get it in front. There's nobody there, and Drozdetsky picks it up and shoots it out to center ice. Soviets on the move now. Down over the line comes Kojevnikov, trying to get it in front. And on the far boards, Patrick out to center ice now. In over the line comes Gagne. Stick handling, but unable to get around the man as Billy Lettadov moves in on him. Drozdetsky's there as well, and he's got it. Number 13, Drozdetsky, out to center ice. Feeds it off on the wing. Over the line they come. Jumanev trying to get set. Up against the board. Set. Fires it behind the net. Drozdetsky didn't see it coming. And working through some traffic as driver, and he gets the pass out to center ice. It goes right by Courtnall and down inside the Soviet zone. 2-0. The Soviets are leading. Canada would like to get the next goal in this game. Make it tough. And here comes Kojevnikov. The lead pass for Kovin. In over the line, driver on top of him, and he just throws him up against the boards. This driver's got a lot of strength. Off the boards and out to center ice, but it goes by everybody, and Kazatonov. Rink-wide pass. Vasiliev dropping it back. Hustling into the corner with the puck is Shepelev. Clears it to the point. Kazatonov again. Trying to get it in along the boards. It's intercepted, and Donnelly backhands it off the boards and out to center ice, and Kovin's got it inside his own blue line. Fetisov. Ahead for Kovin. Didn't see it coming. Gets it again. From Skvortsov. Over the line comes Kovin. Kovin cleared it in front. It went off Craig Redmond's stick. Kovin chasing it around the boards. Back out to the point. It comes just deflected out to center ice by Donnelly. He gets a good pass away. Daigneault moving up after it. Daigneault against the boards. Trying to beat it back to Tippett, who was the trailer on the play, but Kovin took over. Kovin over the line. Being chased by Redmond. Kovin behind the net. Redmond takes him out of the play, and it's now Patrick on the bar board. Patrick still with that puck as he hits the line. Good move, and he has to chase the puck in against the boards. Moving in with him is Skvortsov, and is cleared out to center ice once again. Canada with driver inside his own blue line. Tippett collects it off the boards. Crosses center ice inside the Soviet zone, and a giveaway by Fetisov, and the shot was taken by Tippett. Tretiak forced to make the save. Fetisov. We mentioned Fetisov not having one of his best nights tonight. Kazatonov. To the far side. Out to center ice comes Makarov. Makarov to Karutov. Karutov over the line now trying to cut through the defense, and there's Driver again. What a game he has had. And we are going to get a penalty called. Soviets leading 2-0. Coverage of the 14th Winter Olympics. Well, Canada's got all the penalties in this hockey game, all the kind of minor stuff. This is called slashing to Wilson, as you see Larionov, one of the Soviet players who speaks pretty fluent English. It's inside the blue line. Cleared out to center ice. The penalty called at 4:30. Wilson off for slashing. It looked more like a hook to me looking at the replay, but there was a penalty to be sure. Here's Makarov on the far side. Cleared around the boards. Larionov against the boards on this side. Tried to roll it in front, cutting across his wood. Cleared it out of harm's way against the boards. Now it's golfed down the ice. Driver again is right there. Soviets setting up in their own zone. Saberkov. Watch the circling. Larionov at center ice now. Their power play has not shown us much so far tonight. Karutov tried to bull his way through, and it's cleared down the ice by Driver again. How many times have I mentioned the name Driver in this hockey game? As they come, and he's had a lot of pressure on him. The defense is kind of undermanned as they've lost Robin Bartel and did in the second shift of the game, and it is cleared down the ice again. Now Patrick comes off the bench to join Redmond on the defense. Karutov comes up the right wing boards. Karutov stops up against the boards. Back to the point. Kept in by Kazatonov to Karutov. Karutov with Makarov in the corner, but he'll elect to go to the point. Kazatonov taps it back. There's a good rink-wide pass for Fetisov. Fetisov moving in, first it in front, and all alone there was Karutov, but he couldn't contain the pass. Karutov cutting in front, and it deflected off Donnelly's stick, I think, and out to center ice, and Fetisov will have to go back into the Soviet zone to get it. Out of the lead pass. Trying to get loose as Homatov, but he took a check from Patrick, who stood up on the play, and is golfed back down the ice once again. 6:03 gone in the period. 25 seconds remaining in the power play. Federal Republic of Germany is leading Finland 7-4 in the third period. The Finns have had their problems in this tournament. That is now a final score, I'm told. Moving in to Shepelev. Shepelev to the side of the net. Back out. for Shepelev, but he was unable to get it as it went off the leg. Gerasimov over to Fetisov. The shot, big save made. Gosselin on his knees, and it winds up in the corner. Patrick will hold it in there, and we'll have a face-off as the power play ends.
Well, we've always said throughout this tournament that Team Canada has really shown a gutsy effort throughout it, that they've shown grit, determination. Drivers has typified that. We see them on the screen. And these young players, that's a very general statement. But I'll tell you, in this hockey game, the Soviets are playing with 4 lines that are well-conditioned. They're playing with 3 sets of defensemen. They go out every 45, 50 seconds. They keep the game at a tremendous pace. Canada, through injury and short, today 2 players, Muller and Bartel, early in the game, they're going with 3 lines and 4 defensemen, and that's what courage means. They're holding the Soviet team, and they're just going on adrenaline because attrition will set in as far as conditioning is concerned. They're doing it through hustle, drive, and determination.
Well, this is a team, the Soviet team, may I say, that has to go into the Canada Cup next year as the favorite to beat the NHL All-Stars. They are the defending Canada Cup champions. Here is a team of 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds who are step-to-step with them and doing a great job defensively. This is the story of this hockey game. In against the boards, around behind the net. Driver is back after it and against the boards again, and he has really used his weight to great advantage here as Drozdetsky clears it to the line, and it's down the ice. Vladimir is back. Well, you're watching something here as these kids are giving it everything. Now Chumanev clearing it in, going to the backhand is Kojevnikov, tries to roll it out in front on the short side. Down goes Gosselin, a scramble in front. The loose puck is picked up and carried into the corner. Back out to the point. Vladimir. Denis, at least it's collected by Redmond, and he shoots it down the ice. And after it on this icing will be Pervukin. It's called, and there will be a face-off on the Team Canada end. It's still 2-0. Coverage of the 14th Winter Olympics. We'll continue it. From the face-off, Starikov at the blue line. Big save again by Gosselin as he got his pad on it. Saw it at the last instant. The puck winds up in the corner. Boy, the quick whistle there as they go in. And the face-off will be off to Gosselin's right.
Well, we've had some hard checks into the boards. We saw Driver taking the Soviet player. We saw James Patrick there, and Flatley was taking him very, very hard early in this period by Stельнов. So we've seen some tough checking as well as some tight defensive hockey.
Tumanev, Drozdetsky, Pomutov, number 15 on the bench. A little further down, number 13 is Drozdetsky, but there's Kovin. Kovin, as we mentioned, made his debut in the Canada Cup in 1976. Played in the Challenge Cup in 1979, but this is his first World or Olympic tournament. It's interesting that he would get the assignment in those 2 tournaments, but not against opposition in World or Olympic competition. Starikov feeding it ahead. Kovin knocked it out of midair. Kovin backing away from some checking there. His counterpart, Von Karpen. The pass goes to Stельнов. Stельнov to the line, and he is chased out of the play. Good check by Donnelly, who came back on him. He lost his stick on the play, and Canada clears the puck down the ice again. We're at the 8:24 mark of the 3rd period. Soviets leading 2-0. Shots on goal in this period. The Soviets have 3. Canada 1, so that is now 23-8. Soviets have had the shots, but the Canadians have had good goaltending as the puck hops up over the boards. And we look at Vladimir Krutov, number 9. Memorable for fans, I guess, of Team Canada. That last game of the Canada Cup when he put the move on Guy Lafleur and scored a shorthanded goal. Guy Lafleur has not had how-do-you-do said to him like that in a long time.
Well, this line of Krutov, Larionov, and Makarov, all of them are young hockey players, and they can all handle the puck. They've all got speed, and they've all got moves.
Puck is cleared in past Fetisov, and Kazantsonov is back to get it now. 2-0. Out to center ice comes Larionov. Larionov over the line, drops it off. Nice play, but Krutov then trying to get it ahead of Makarov, and Makarov wind up sliding in against the boards on this side as Lidster gets it to Patrick. Patrick trying to get out of the zone, has to handle it inside the zone, and finally it's shoveled out to center ice by Lidster. Over the line, Lowe, Darren Lowe. Now for Kerry Wilson. Wilson couldn't control it. And the center ice once again, and Krutov in over the line now, and he just rolled it in. And covering up will be Gosselin. He holds on. 9:18 gone in the period. And we're in the 3rd period here at Centra. The Soviets leading 2-0.
Well, Krutov there went right
A bit of concern, Tom. Canada has not scored a goal in 111 minutes, but then again, Sweden, who Canada will be taking on Sunday, scored only 1 goal against the Soviets.
I was going to say
late
that.
in the game.
Yes, they've only scored 1, so neither team has really been a great offensive machine.
Czechoslovakia, by the way, have not allowed a goal in 7 straight periods. So they continue to play very, very well, and that sets the stage for a tremendous gold medal game, all things being equal, on Sunday. And you'll see it live. You'll see the Canada game also at 4 a.m. on Sunday. That's our first 4 a.m. Canada versus Sweden, Eastern Time, live on the CTV network. Out comes Canada now. Carrying the puck is Gagne. Ahead for Courtnall. Courtnall trying to drop it off. Gagne was trailing. Courtnall gets it again. Sets up. Drops it back to the blue line. Went right through Patrick's legs. Way out of the net comes Gosselin. He'll try to shovel it out to center ice. And he doesn't do that, but the puck winds up against the boards anyway, and out at center ice. The shuffle had to put it back himself. Here comes Courtnall. Ducks away from a check, but they got enough of a piece of him, Bielyanov did, that he takes control of the puck, and that line hits for the Team Canada bench. Drozdetsky, number 13. Here he comes. Up on the left boards. At center ice, the pass for Chumanev. Chumanev cutting for that. Drozdetsky in front, and it rolls wide of the net. Into the corner it goes. Kojevnikov. Drozdetsky out in front with some room, and he shot it wide. I think it hit a leg. Now again out in front. Drozdetsky, and again he is checked on the play by Litzer. In against the boards. Drozdetsky and Litzer, and they hold it in there. Chumanev moves in as well, and we'll have a face-off. It's 2-0 Soviets. Coverage of the 14th Winter Olympics will continue. This is Ron Roosh along with Tom Watt at the Zetra Hall in Sarajevo, Yugoslavia. Canada versus the Soviets, and it is a tight hockey game, 2-0. Kovin has scored for the Soviets. Kojevnikov as well for Kovin, his 5th goal of the tournament. Kojevnikov's 3rd. And Canada continues to play so well defensively, and they are protecting that very, very important area of the statistics sheet as it's rolled in front by Drozdetsky, and that is the goals for and against. If it comes down to that, Canada, if they can keep this down, will be in a good shape to play a tie against Sweden and win the bronze medal. Kept in over the line now. Number 28 is Chumanev around the boards. Clears it back to the point. It's golfed in there, but blocked by Tippett in front of the net. Back out of center ice once again, and that's Chumanev. Chumanev loses it. Donnelly's back into his own zone. Ahead now. And Team Canada with Flatley. Flatley stopped up against the boards. Flatley had it stripped away from him, and it's cleared out to center ice by Kojevnikov. Redmond. Moving out now. Ahead. Darren Lowe. Here's the Lowe hitting the line. Tried to get it over for Wilson, and it was just taken away by Skwortsov. Soviets again. Starikov. Skwortsov. They got all messed up inside the line, but Flatley couldn't get on it quickly enough. Now ahead. Vasilyev unable to get loose. Team Canada again out at center ice. And the backhand pass by Patrick. Cleared into the Soviet zone. Wilson in there after Starikov. It's cleared along the boards. A rink-wide pass. Skwortsov at center ice now, hitting the line. Skwortsov trying to get around the defense, knocked off balance by Driver, and the pass goes harmlessly to the far board. Flatley ahead, knocked down by Kazatonov. Kovin's there, back to Kazatonov. Here he comes, up to center ice. The lead pass went off. Number 19, Dave Gagne. Courtnall's inside his own zone, and here he comes once again. Courtnall to the line. Courtnall trying to pull through, trailing is Gagne. Gagne flipping it out, a bouncing puck in front of the net. As reaching for it there was Kazatonov, sends a lead pass out. That's intercepted. Canada waits for Mates to get onside, and offside on the far side was Courtnall, I believe, or was that Deneen? I think it was Deneen, and he protested, but I believe he might have been a half a stride.
You saw him gritting his teeth there, and then he's talking as he's going off, talking to that linesman. He thought he was in there having the opportunity at the blue line, but we've seen throughout this whole tournament. We're going to get a look at it. Well, it's hard. We don't see both skates. You know, if he has one skate on the line, he's all right, you see. But the linesmen here throughout the tournament, if it's anywhere close at the blue line, they call it dead. They don't want to be accused of allowing a goal to be scored if it was offside. So anywhere close to an offside, they're blowing it down.
From the face-off, certainly we don't have too many complaints about officiating in this hockey game. They have done the job. Karutov at center ice now. Karutov down over the line. He's got that great speed. Hustles in and then shot it right off the stick handle, and he just shot it wide. Now out to center ice it comes once again. Donnelly. And it comes back to Fetisov. Fetisov clearing it in. Karutov cutting across the line is called on the offside, and the face-off outside the blue line. Well, CTV is the place for Olympic coverage this weekend, to be sure. Tomorrow we have the ladies' final in the Olympic figure skating competition in the evening, and highlights of the 90-meter ski jumping, plus lots more in the afternoon. So join us for the final weekend here at the 14th Olympic Winter Games. And again, we remind you that Canada will be going for the bronze medal on Sunday morning, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. That's 4 a.m. Eastern on the CTV network. You'll see it live, followed by what we expect will be the gold medal game between the Soviet Union and Czechoslovakia. You see both games live here on CTV. So plan your time. On the West Coast, I guess you stay up. 1 a.m. And are we going to have jet lag when we get home, Tom? Back in over the line now, especially Bernie, who has to go to the West Coast. There are the Soviets starting out with Billy Letinov. Inside the line now, Kerry Wilson knocked down. Wilson, rink-wide pass. And there's going to be a penalty to the Soviets as Canada starts out. Here's Darren Lowe out to Wilson, and a two-line pass to the offside pass. And for the first time in the hockey game, with Soviets leading 2-0, Canada will go on a power play. It's 2-0 Soviets, coverage of the 14th Winter Olympics. Continue. Alexander Gerasimov is off for interference at 14:26. Canada, for the first time in this hockey game, will have a power play. They played short-handed a total of 4 times and killed it off successfully each time. Now let's see what happens here. Canada trailing by 2. Lidster dropping it off for Driver. Driver has been, I think, Tom, Canada's best player in this game. You can argue that one if you want, but here comes Soviets back in now in a short-handed situation. They score! Skvortsov on the backhand.
The Olympic Games has simply been outstanding. Here, Fetisov, a perfect pass to Makarov. Now watch the speedster move in behind the defense. Makarov comes right in at Mario Gosselin, who has a goals against average of 1.85 in the Olympics. A standout save once again. Makarov set up by Fetisov. Now watch Tumanev from close range. Tumanev, number 28, will move right in front of the net. And Gosselin once again knocks down the backhander. And that's the type of game it's been. Canada's had a couple of good scoring chances. That one by Kerry Wilson. He moved in.
Larionov, Karutov, Makarov. Tippett out on the line with Dan Wood and Dave Donnelly. Patrick along with Craig Redmond for defense. And from the face-off at center ice, Kazatonov at center ice is moving it ahead for Makarov, who shoots it into the Team Canada end. Redmond in there along with Makarov, and it's Makarov who controls the Karutov, trying to jam it in front. And there's going to be a slashing penalty called, I believe, on Patrick. Trying to break out in front of the net was Karutov, and I think he drew the slash.
Well, Makarov took Redmond into the boards very, very hard, and then coming behind the net, the slash came from Patrick inside his own zone, but it started right in the corner with Makarov doing the forechecking job on Redmond.
So a slashing penalty to James Patrick at 15 seconds of the period, and Canada for the second time will play shorthanded. There is no score in this game, and we are into the second period now. The Soviets did dominate that first period, but Tom, I think the strength of Team Canada has been the sheer work ethic, first of all, and secondly, their ability to play defensive hockey. They have good defensive team hockey coached into them by Dave King.
That's right, and they can play well when the score is even. They can play well when they're ahead. It's tough for them to come from a long way behind.
And from the face-off, it is golfed down the ice. Tippett winning the draw once again. Fetisov back behind his own net now, and here he comes. Big Fetisov to center ice now, leading the rush over the line. Stops up just inside the line, setting up, leads it in. Karutov on the backhand, and Driver got in front of him. Karutov again. Larionov back out to Fetisov. Back to Larionov on the far board. Karutov in the corner. Back to the point. Fetisov makes the shot, deflected out to center ice by Dave Donnelly, and back to get it is Kazatonov. In deep. And Donnelly right on top of him. Good job by Donnelly. And now Kazatonov has to circle away and feeds it up ice for Larionov at center ice. Watch them crisscross here as Karutov comes to the far side. Larionov drops it off for Makarov. Makarov along the boards. Larionov, rink wide. Fetisov's got it near the blue line now. In deep, Makarov. Back to Fetisov. Makarov again. Play tic-tac-toe, and finally it's mishandled at the blue line, and Fetisov is back near his own line. Feeds it off a Team Canada player. And Fetisov gets it again from Kazatonov at center ice. He's over the line, this time coming up the left boards. Feeds it around the boards for Karutov on the far side. Karutov backed up against the boards. We've got 38 seconds left in the power play. In deep, and it's Makarov trying to work it in front. Larionov back to Fetisov. Fetisov moving it in front, deflected away again, and out over the line. Canada again clearing it with 25 seconds left in the power play. Makarov over the line, Karutov. Karutov going to the side of the net, trying to roll it out in front. The fence covered up. That was Lidster that time. Makarov circling with it. Rink wide, Fetisov. He's got that big shot. Cuts to the slot, then dropped it off, and there's a shot from Kazatonov, and his rebound went wide as Gosselin made the initial save. Now it against the board. Jamming in there and holding it is Dan Wood, and the penalty is over. Canada has killed it off, and a face-off deep in their end.
Well, that's the second time throughout the whole penalty. There was not one whistle. The Soviets controlled the puck very, very well. Team Canada was able to get one change on the fly, doing a good job forcing them all the time along the boards and forcing them at the point twice. The Soviet point men misplayed the puck, and Team Canada was able to get it back out over the blue line. Good job.
Sergei Shepelev out there. He's from Spartak, one of the few not from the Central Red Army team. They have 12 members from that team playing with the Soviet Union. The puck is jammed against the boards and held there for a face-off.
Well, one of the reasons the Soviets play so very, very well as a team is that their total team, of the total 20 players that are scoring in Gorky, so it doesn't, which is only 100 kilometers away, and so they can bring their club together as a national team almost any time they please to train.
Starikov keeping it in around behind the net. It's Redmond. Redmond, no score in this game now as Redmond works out and just under pressure from Larionov, shoots it out over center ice. Correct that. That was Shepelev moving in on him. Now deep in his own end, that's Stельнов. Stельнов rolling it to the line. Out to center ice comes Homotov, tried to hop over a check. Trailing on the play is Starikov. He fed it back. Shepelev hits the line and it's cleared around behind the net. Gosselin leaving it for Redmond. Redmond. Patrick. To the blue line. Lead pass. Wilson hustling after it. Darren Lowe, number 14. In around the boards, trying to control it deep in the zone, but it's checked away from him. Shepelev loses it then. Good job in there as Flatley backhands it out near the line. The shot, and Lowe fanned on it. He saw the net, and he just took his eye off it for a moment. Now here comes Wilson. They turn and start up ice again. Wilson over the line with Flatley. They kind of run into each other just inside the line. Now Wilson circles away from his teammate, drops it back to the point. The shot, that's blocked. It's still inside the line. Deneen shooting it into the corner. After it there is Bilyaletdinov behind the net. Steering it up along the boards is Perbukin. And it's shot out to center ice by Kojevnikov. Deep in his end, Driver. Portno. That is set up near the line. Good move as he ducked away from the checking of Drozdetsky. Portno's over the line. It's offside. No score, 3:55. Gone in the second period.
Canadian fans might look at a little difference in style through the neutral zone that Team Canada is employing here today. They're forechecking very aggressively with two deep forwards. But the third forward is always a long way back, almost playing between the two defensemen. And when the Soviets attack through the neutral zone with the puck, there are three men lined up. Instead of just turning and picking up a winger, there are three men lined up across the line through the neutral zone. Three defenders.
Drozdetsky hitting the line, but it's stripped away from him again. They don't get an awful lot of room when they hit the Canadian line. Now circling cross ice with the puck is Kojevnikov, high scorer in the Soviet Union. He shoots it off the leg. Drozdetsky going in. Out of the net is Gosselin. It bounces, takes a crazy hop off the boards. Deneen gets it, however, and Lidster trailing on the play. Out of center ice, it is cleared into the Soviet zone, and back to get it is Bilyaletdinov. He drops it off, and the Soviets regroup in their end and start out. Jemenev just easing the puck out. Now circling back. Jemenev. He's got Perbukin on this side, but he gives it straight up ice for Kojevnikov, who circles. Again, they're having trouble as Canada is putting a good pattern on them. There's a shot by Kojevnikov well wide. It goes all the way around the boards and back down into the Soviet zone where Bilyaletdinov has got it. Canada makes a complete change. Bilyaletdinov deep in his end, gives it to Fetisov. Fetisov behind his net. Starts out, beats it to Kovin. Kovin at center ice, and he's working down on the wing. Kovin trying to cut through, and he is tied up and double-teamed on the play, and it's Patrick who comes away with the puck and drops it off for Redmond. To Patrick. Patrick up on the right wing board, trying to feed it ahead for Donnelly. Back in over the line. Vasiliev, he's got the room, gets in, shoots right on, and the save is made by Gosselin. Mikhail Vasiliev all alone, the best scoring chance of the period. Is icing called as Fetisov touches it inside his own zone. No score. Coverage of the 14th Winter Olympics will continue in a moment. Play underway. There's a shot wide of the net deflected. A good wrist shot taken from the blue line by Fetisov. And Canada now. Litzer can't get out of the zone. Here comes Vasiliev again, moving in front of the net and batting on it with Skvortsov. He was alone in front, but I think his stick was lifted just at the last instant. Out near the line now, Skvortsov, number 26. He's pushed off the puck and it's wristed out to center ice for Team Canada by Donnelly.
He was tackled by Tippett.
Near the line, the Soviets having trouble getting underway now. Kazatonov, when that happens, of course, we've seen it over the years. They'll circle back. They are very patient. Out at center ice, Makarov. To the line now. Makarov trying to work for the net, and it is tapped away, but a giveaway inside the zone. Now Larionov to Makarov. He tried to roll it in front. Off the end of the side of the net was Tarutov. And the puck winds up in the corner with Tippett pinning it in there, the team captain for Canada. And he holds it. We'll get a face-off in the Team Canada end.
Tippett coming off again, blocked one shot late in that shift, and then the first shot, as we said before,
Well, the face-off, we've got Wilson out there with Lowe and Flatley now for Canada, and they're going nose-to-nose with the number one line from the Soviet Union. Here's the shot right on, and Gosselin is there to take it off his chest protector again.
He's just watching Terry Wilson a little mad at himself. He lost that draw clean. He's talking there inside the circle there with his teammates. But that is not very often it's happened in this tournament. Canada's lost his draw so cleanly inside their own zone. They're pretty good. They've controlled the puck inside their own zone from the face-off circle.
Larionov, number 11, Wilson, who wins it this time, and it's behind the net. Doubled off against the boards by Redmond to Wilson. Wilson, number 20, flatly working up ice, but he fell down just as he crossed center ice, and that's why he didn't get that pass. Now Stельнов behind his net, clears it around, comes to Wilson on the far board. Checked in against the boards by Makarov, and finally Wilson just elects to shoot it out to center ice and clearing it right back in again to strike Redmond. At the side of his net now, it is Stельнов. Out to center ice, Wilson. Wilson hops away from a check. Wilson is circling back now, and he leaves it for Redmond. Redmond ahead for Wilson, and it hit the back of his leg, goes in over the line, but it's onside. Low going for the net, and he shot it in the backhand wide. Now against the board. Out come the Soviets to center ice now. Skvortsov leading the Russians. He drops it off now, and it's offside as Makarov was in a bit ahead of it. Larionov, there you see him.
Fans had a great opportunity to see that at the blue line. The three men lined across. The man in the middle was a forward. The two defensemen were at the blue line. The man in the middle was Lowe, who got back as forward. Look at the three of them. 1, 2, 3. Trying to guard that line, forcing the offside, and it's Lowe, not the defenseman standing up at the line, that forced the offside in the Soviets. The Soviets had a little trouble breaking the three men at the blue line through the neutral zone.
Soviets had 3 shots in this period. Canada 1. Litzer, much better period. Canada seemed to gain some confidence in the last 5 minutes of the first period, and they played much better. Canada meets Sweden in the next game in the medal round. For Canada, it will be the final game of the tournament. You'll see it live on CTV. Note the time, 4 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. Breakfast with the Olympics and Olympic hockey. That's Sunday morning, 4 Eastern Time. Canada plays Sweden, an unprecedented day of Olympic coverage coming your way Sunday on CTV. Puck is inside the Soviet end, and here they come. Bilyaletdinov out to center ice now, and it is stripped away. Good defensive job that time by Kevin Dineen, and it's fired right back into the Soviet end. Back to get it is Bilyaletdinov, and it's called on the icing. So we're back into the Team Canada zone for another important face-off.
Well, it was Dineen in the same position as we saw a moment ago, in between the defensemen that stole that puck in the neutral zone. And the longer the Team Canada can hang in this game, frustrate the Soviets, then the better that
Way underway, back near the line now, circling with that puck is Perbukin. He shot it in there, and out come Canada now. Courtnall leading the rush with Deneen. Courtnall's over the line, stops up now, waiting for Mace to catch up, and there's the trailer on the play, Gagne, but he couldn't get the puck to him, as intercepting it was Shepelev on the far boards. The Soviets starting out. Homutov with center ice. Over the line now. They fight their way through. It's cleared in front of the net. Rolls to the goal post. And Gosselin covers it up. Driver, I think, finally got it behind the net. We'll have another face-off.
Well, you notice that the opportunity didn't come between the defensemen. Now the Soviets, seeing that middle is blocked up, they're trying to go to the outside. Here you see him breaking around the outside. He took the pass from the defense, trying to put it by Gosselin. Gosselin staying right with him. Of course, at the edge of the net, Team Canada then covering up.
Well, we've got a conference going on now at the Soviet bench. Tyumenev, Kazatonov, along with Drozdetsky, Kojevnikov, and I guess they're a little concerned about what's going on out there.
I saw during the last shift, too, the Krutov was up talking and making gestures with his hands to Coach Tikhonov and so on, so it seems that they're a little frustrated. They're not quite sure what to do to break this down at the line.
Well, Tyumenev is the centerman on the line. He's out there now with Drozdetsky and Kojevnikov. And a penalty has been called to Driver. Was that delay of the game for behind the net there? I think so Canada is going to go shorthanded. I didn't even spot the penalty being called, but we are now in a penalty situation for the third time. Hooking is the call against Driver at 8:07 of the period. See how Canada's penalty killing is again. It's been almost letter perfect here. Inside the zone, there's Canada again, and it's cleared down the ice by Craig Redmond. And down to get it is Fetisov. Fetisov, Kazatonov out there. They're the point men. We mentioned the forward line. Catching up is Tyumenev as Fetisov goes over the line. Now feeds it in deep, and it's Drozdetsky in the corner. Back out to the point. Fetisov rolling it in front. The shot, it hit a leg in front. And working free is Patrick. He starts out, feeds it to center ice. Tippet's got it there, trying to flip it ahead for Wood. And Wood goes into the corner after it. Wood. Kazatonov checking on him, also moving in. They're trying to get the whistle at the other end, and they managed to do it with 1:22 left in the power play advantage for the Soviets.
J.Kompalla saying that it was a Team Canada man that forced the face-off inside the zone. He's bringing the puck outside the zone for the face-off, not having it inside. But Team Canada's done a good job. Very strange penalty call. I didn't see that infraction either, but Canada's taken 3 straight minor penalties in this game. Well, I wonder when the guys in white are going to get one.
Well, we've got Dave Gagne out there to take the draw now against Tyumenev. Gagne wins it, puts it inside the Soviet zone, and they'll group behind the net. There they go, crisscrossing around, and out they come now with Drozdetsky carrying it, number 13. Rink-wide pass over the line. The Soviets now trying to work it to the boards. Kazatonov back to the point. Kojevnikov, number 29, to Kazatonov once again. Kazatonov. Now Kojevnikov. Kojevnikov circling, looking for that play. Here's Fetisov rolling it in. It hit a skate in front of the net now. Drozdetsky. Drozdetsky along the board. Just stopped there now. Feeds it out to Fetisov. Had to take it on his backhand. Now sets it up in front for Drozdetsky. Hits the heel of his skate. Drozdetsky in the corner. Chopped by Patrick, but Drozdetsky controlled. Now it's chipped away by Patrick, but only to the line where Fetisov has got it. Fetisov over to the far side. Soviets trying to control it, reaching for it, and batting it out to center ice is Donnelly with 25 seconds left in the penalty. Fetisov backing up near the line. Now works up ice. Fetisov working to the line. They're patient. They circle back once again. Tyumenev down to the line. Tyumenev being hassled as he hits the line by Flatley. Puck comes along the boards. Fetisov rolling it in. Good deflection in front of the net by Kojevnikov. And Gosselin was right there. Now Kazatonov, his shot to the side of the net. Now the penalty is over. Puck is stripped free and cleared away, and there's a breakaway. Driver going in all alone, getting set. He shoots. Oh, the save by Tretiak. Driver out of the penalty box. Out at center ice once again. Back in over the line is Redmond. Flips it up against the boards, and the Soviets regrouping. They've killed another penalty. We're past the midway point of the hockey game. Nothing in this game, and it has been tremendous. Against the boards. Driver pinning it in there. Kovin strips him of the puck, moves up along the boards, takes a hit against Darren Lowe, and Wilson to the far side. Redmond to Wilson. Through center ice with some speed. He's through the line now, stops up against the boards. Wilson dropping it off from Lister. He clears to the side net. And the chance there for Kerry Wilson, and Tretiak was right there.
Team Canada, after having Driver come out of the box with that great opportunity, that's what we need in the hockey game. Just deflected off the Soviet defender, and then we come right back, steal the puck inside the zone, and Kerry Wilson gets the good opportunity. So two good opportunities after killing a penalty.
Lister. Driver out there on the point, and the whistle went on the face-off. Gagne a little upset at Kovin. They push and shove a little bit in the face-off circle. It was Gagne who was upended by Kovin. Kevin Dineen out there on the line with Gagne. On the face-off, Courtnall back to the blue line now. Driver just knocked it down, controlled it, and then shot it behind the net. And the Soviets starting out, it's Starakov at center ice. Leads it off for Vasiliev. Vasiliev's over the line, gets bumped up against the boards by Driver. Driver takes another run at him and puts him in against the boards. Now around behind the net. For the Soviet Union, that's Skvortsov out now. Here's the shot, and it lost sight of it. Lose it, but they score. Kovin on the rebound. Gosselin lost sight of it, and when he regained the view of it, it was too late. Kovin had it on his stick, and he put it up over his shoulder.
Kovin was at a bad angle, and Gosselin had made the original stop. Here's the defenseman moving right in from the point, gets everything he can in. You see this foot down. He's trying to get back to it. Kovin just gets it. He hasn't got much room, and he just puts it inside the far post after Gosselin has made the first save. He gets his pad on it, sticks it right out. The defenseman comes across, taking the man, and Kovin jumps on the rebound and just pushes it by. Too bad for Team Canada falling behind here 1-0.
Face off of center ice. Kovin unassisted at 11:31. But it came off a rebound. And here they come once again. Verbuchen at his own line to Karusov at center ice now. 1-0. As Tippett checks on Karusov. Backboard is Billy Litvinov. Larionov. Billy Litvinov in his zone. Ahead, off the stick of Karusov. But Canada regains control. It's eased over the line by Donnelly. Back out to center ice, Karusov. Verbuchen. Verbuchen to the far side for Makarov. Now working to the line. Billy Litvinov shooting it in. Karusov a rink-wide pass. Makarov on the far side. He's checked in against the boards there by Dan Wood. Fed in deep. Around behind the net it comes. Backhand shot off the glove of Gosselin. Karusov with that quickness of his worked out in front. Now rink-wide pass. Verbuchen moving in. His shot is off a leg. Patrick got in front of that one. Down in the corner goes Dan Wood under checking from Makarov. Now Karusov again. They're starting to buzz around again. Now moving it in is Larionov, but he couldn't get past the last line, which was Patrick. Patrick behind the net. Off the boards, they let it go down the ice. Canada perhaps looking for a change, and it goes right down to Tretiak. Tretiak just steers it up to center ice. Canada on the change right now, and hopping in over the line is Gerasimov. His shot is over top of the net. Now along the board, Fetisov steps off the fence. Took a hit from Flatley. Puck remains inside the blue line. Larionov checking. Around behind the net, Driver. For Canada, the Low just risks it past his check as Fetisov was moving in. And got it out to center ice. Kasatonov back over the line for Larionov. Larionov out in front. On the backhand, trying to get a shot away was Homatov. Here's the shot that's well wide of the net off the stick of Fetisov. Kasatonov keeps it in. Larionov in front. Great save is made. And Gosselin on that save on Homatov. And it's cleared out to center ice. Back to get it. For the Soviet Union is Vyacheslav Fetisov. Moving with the puck at center is Shepelev to the line. It's taken away from him, and out comes Courtnall now. Courtnall to the line with Gagne, and he lost it just as he crossed the line to Fetisov, and it's cleared back into the Team Canada end. Dineen. Starting out, Kevin Dineen to the line. He's got speed as he stopped inside the blue line, trying to steer it past Fetisov, who seems to be out all night tonight. Back in over the line now. Cutting for the net is Drozdetsky. Score! Went off a leg. Kojevnikov may have got it. in front of the net. Rushing in was number 13, Nikolai Drozdetsky, and the Soviets lead 2-0.
Drozdetsky goes outside Redmond. Redmond slips, trying to get to stay with him, and then coming in late is Kожevnikov that gets that pass. He has no room to put the puck, and he throws it in front of the net, and all he has to do is shovel it in the open net. The defenseman trying to get back to pick him up. An easy goal for the Soviet, but Drozdetsky was the guy that did all the work going outside and making the play, getting it in front of the net.
Lidster moving up from the face-off at center ice. Kожevnikov from Drozdetsky.
You know, what happens in hockey a lot of the time, you think back to the breakaway by Driver when he's all by himself, he gets the opportunity, Tretiak, and then coming back with an opportunity from Terry Wilson, and then less than a minute later, the Soviets come back, get their first goal, and then add to that count now.
Lidster shooting it in. At the side of the net now, Starikov feeds it straight up ice. It deflects off the stick of Kожevnikov, and Lidster's got it. Lidster for Canada. Ahead. Over the line, Tippett. Tried to get it to Donnelly. Tippett took a hit against the board from Tchemenev, and the puck is underneath Tchemenev at the boards, and we'll have a face-off about 5 feet inside the blue line. And as the Soviet Union and Canada make a change, there you see Mikhail Vasiliev, number 6, the cousin of one of the great defensemen in Soviet history, Valery Vasiliev. And he's got his number.
But he doesn't play his position.
No, and he plays his position because Mikhail very, very well. And the young coming star for this Soviet team. Skvortsov jammed in against the boards, flatly, out to center ice for Darren Lowe, couldn't control it, gets it again, and he gets it in over the line, but back there with him is Billy Letinov, and he manages to get the puck and clear it around for Pervukin. Pervukin along the boards, but it was not for Vasiliev this time as Canada cleared it in. Patrick now in deep, flatly doing a lot of work in there, cleared to the side of the net. Skvortsov out at center ice for Kovin. Kovin for Vasiliev. Vasiliev cutting across now. It's chopped away from him as Wilson did the checking job. Vasiliev will try again. Over the line. Redmond on top of him. Behind the net. Vasiliev still fighting off the checking. Skvortsov in the corner. Wilson's on top of him. Along the boards it goes. Back out to the blue line and hopped over the stick of Billy Letinov, and at center ice, Pervukin once again. Rink-wide pass. Ahead for Krutov. Good move as he got over the line, ducking past a check from Kevin Dineen. But the Canadians just sent it right back out to center ice again. J.Comparla, the referee, got in the way of that. Canada maintains possession inside their end. It's Dineen. Tried to get it to Courtnall. Goes all the way down the ice for the Soviets. Number 14 there is Billy Letinov, and he's checked in against the boards. It's chopped back near the line. Dineen throws the check against the boards and takes possession. Soviets are leading 2-0. We have 3.5 minutes remaining in the second period. Ahead and all the way down into the Team Canada zone. There'll be icing here as Patrick touches it. And the face-off will be back down on the Soviet end. 2-0 Soviets. Coverage.
The puck out and just making a very, very soft flip pass outside of their own zone. The Soviet defender gloved it, set it down, and then threw it ahead immediately. And it resulted in a shorthanded goal. Here we see, after the pass from the defender, cutting across in front of the net, trying to get back, makes the move across on the backhand. Too bad for Team Canada. Great move by the Soviets. Canada guilty of a bad clearing pass when they had the man advantage.
Well, here we go again. Driver getting the puck inside his own line. Wilson, 3-0 Soviets. A shorthanded goal scored on them. The Soviets can jump all over you. You make the mistake. Over the line now, Plantley, along the boards, clears it in front. Wilson shot! Big save by Tretiak, who got the inside of his pad on it.
Well, the net, too, jumping off. I mean, Tretiak made a great save and was shot all in one motion as the puck came across. But moving back, the net goes off, and Team Canada might have been able to have another opportunity when Tretiak had to be extended to make that stop on the quick shot from the side of the net. Just kick the net right off and making the stop. And again, as we've seen so often in the tournament, the play is killed. But Team Canada might have got an opportunity after that because Tretiak was down after making the big stop.
That was an unassisted goal by Skvortsov at 14:41. Puck is cleared to center ice. 3-0 Soviets. Canada still on the power play. A minute and 14 seconds left in that. And it's James Patrick out to center ice with Canada. Ahead now over the line. Flatley trailing on the play is Wilson. Wilson through the traffic now. Into the corner he goes. Still with that puck. He clears it towards the line, but he can't get it back to Patrick. Now he does. Kept inside the line. Good job there by Donnelly, who starts to move in. Gets set, and he's hooked from behind by Vasiliev. Soviets start out. Fetisov at center ice. And he circles back. 47 seconds left in the power play. Kazatonov with Donnelly forecheck. Kazatonov gets it again from Fetisov. Clear to center ice. Team Canada gate is open as the puck is cleared into the Team Canada end. And they make a change. Courtnall, Gagne. Gagne over the line. Fetisov ducking away from a check now. Clears it through center ice. And back to get it is Daigneault with 18 seconds left in the power play. So the Soviets get the Canadians hemmed in a bit. Rink wide pass. After it is Pervukin. He's checked. Now Daigneault. Ahead. Comes Lidster at center ice. Gagne fakes the shot. And then he, in trying to let the pass go to Courtnall, didn't get good wood on the pass. And so now the Soviets come right back again. Gerasimov. He is checked. He's out of the penalty box now. Gagne back inside his own zone. He starts out 3-0. Soviets leading the lead pass now. Karpin comes over the line. Fresh legs on the ice. Karpin into the corner after it. He's pinned by Pervukin, and it's held in there, and we hold for a face-off. So there you see Courtnall, of course, on his way to the Toronto Maple Leafs, I would imagine, after this. A first-round draft pick last year. Played Victoria, played on the World Junior Championships. We've got 3 minutes and 5 seconds left in this hockey game. Canada, as the puck rolls in, did it get in? Did it get in? Yes, it did. The light's on. It was mishandled at the side of the net, and it got by Gosselin. I'd like to see a replay on that to see what happened, but I think Drozdetsky is going to get credit for it.
Well, Warren Anderson, who was on the ice for the first time, carried it right into his own net. Here he is. He's moving back. You see Gosselin, who didn't expect him. He expected him to go to the side of the net, and it goes right underneath the goaltender into the net. But Team Canada, too bad for Warren Anderson. The first time he's been on the ice tonight, late in the hockey game, brings it underneath his own goaltender.
Drozdetsky will get credit for it. From the face-off, back come the Soviets. 4-0 is the score. Soviets leading. Back inside the line now. Starikov ahead. Team Canada will be playing Sweden for the bronze medal on Sunday. Tippett along the boards. That should be a tremendous hockey game. Shumanev to the far side. And the Soviets move up. Canada looking for its first bronze medal. First medal of any sort. There's a tackle thrown inside the blue line. I think the referee's going to let it go. Canada has not won a medal. Here's Drozdetsky circling inside the zone again. Clears to the point. The shot comes in from Stельнов. And it winds up in the corner. And we're going to get a couple of players tossed here by J.Kompalla. Driver is involved, or Lidster rather, number 4.
Well, Team Canada are a tired bunch right now. I noticed on the last shift that we had Darren Lowe and Flatley, and we had Kerry Wilson out there, and they're a group that's been skating throughout this tournament. They had difficulty getting back to the bench. It's a tired group. They've given their all. They've faced a team tonight that's in great condition, that's used their whole bench. And Team Canada trying to get on the score sheet here. We're using only the 3 lines and 4 defensemen after injury. It's a tough thing to do, and they're just hanging in here now, trying to get through this hockey game, keep the goals against down as low as it possibly can, going into that last game with Sweden for the bronze medal.
So it'll be Wood off for Canada, Stельнов off for the Soviet Union. 4 against 4, 4 skaters to 4. As the puck is in the corner, Redmond cutting in front of his own net. He's a great skater, brings it out to the blue line to center ice now. Redmond working to the line and then flips it in and chases it himself. Comes to the side of the net. Flatley. Canada with a little skating room out there right now. Flatley mishandled the puck, got it back, shot it right in there. Good effort by Flatley as he got that shot away. Kazatonov behind the net. Coming back to help out is Krutov, and he'll get the pass. One hands it out to center ice. Krutov to Larionov. He's over the line. Larionov moving in. He's got great moves, and he made 2 of them, but then the puck was taken away from him by Redmond. Out comes Kerry Wilson. Wilson had it taken away from him by Larionov. Out Driver, round behind the net. Out to center ice it comes. Kazatonov, Larionov, back to Fetisov. Kazatonov. Swinging through his own zone to center ice. Kazatonov, number 7, to the line. Chased by Patrick. Kazatonov trying to roll it in front, and right there to collect that puck and take it out of harm's way for Canada is Dave Donnelly. He's at center ice. Donnelly trying to shuffle his way through Kazatonov. He's taken out of the play. Fetisov then sends it to center ice. Larionov, Fetisov going for the net. Here's the shot. And Fetisov looking for the deflection. We're in the final minute of play here. Out at center ice now, racing after it and tipping it ahead and moving in now is Gagne at the backhand, and he shot it wide. Gagne with a great chance. We've got 36 seconds left in the hockey game, and Gagne took a crack across the head. Donnelly taking exception. We've got a little pushing and shoving involving Dineen and Fetisov. Gagne and Fetisov there.
Well, Fetisov should get a 5-minute major penalty here. He just took a stick right across the face of the Team Canada player. There it is, right across the shoulder and the side of the head. I mean, whether you hurt the man or not, in the rule book, that's a deliberate attempt to injure, and that's 5-minute penalty and out of the game in international hockey. But there was no question about it. He just took a stick and gave it to Gagne.
Well, we have to say also he took a crack to start it all, and we'll see what they do here, the way they deal this one. Canada and the Soviet Union each playing a man short at this particular point. Well, there's some discussion going on down there. Not too happy. That's Karutov there. Fetisov and Gagne were the main combatants in all of this. Tippett's trying to sort it out. The 2 captains are out there. Homosov, number 15 for the Soviets. Drozdetsky, like a little mob scene out there. Very little of anything happening. Kevin Dineen. So let's just see what the referee, J.Kompalla of West Germany, will do about this.
Well, he's got Tippett at the edge of the circle trying to find out what the calls are. You see the players standing around outside the circle. He can't win the circle. The official
They boo him in the Soviet Union. They boo him because he plays, of course, for the Central Red Army, who have played in their own league 25 games and won them all. But they also boo him because he's considered a bit of a bully in his league. Now, what in the world? Dineen is getting, they're going to get he's just going to toss the 2 of them. Fetisov is going off as well. So not only is he a superstar, but he is also a tough guy. And there's our tough guy sitting down right now.
Well, in my
Kevin
opinion,
Dineen is not a tough guy, but he's going in too.
In my opinion, that's a major penalty for deliberately trying to injure the man. And it doesn't matter whether you do or not. The rule book says if you deliberately try to injure the man with your stick, and he took his stick and hit Gagne right over the side of the shoulder and the side of the head, and with his team ahead 4-0, that was uncalled for at that point. That's a 5-minute major penalty.
They have given 4 minutes, so a double minor has gone out. You very seldom see a major penalty called in international hockey. They would prefer, because a major penalty is an ejection, they prefer to throw a double penalty at you. Now, what this is going to do for the manpower when we've only got 33 seconds left in the hockey game is they play 3 against 3. 3 skaters to 3 for the final moments. Tippett out there now, along with Patrick and Lidster at the blue line. From the face-off, taken for the Soviets by Pervukin. He just stops behind his net now, 25 seconds left. Starting out is Kumanev. He shoots it down into the Team Canada end. Lidster will touch it, and with 18 seconds left, we'll get a face-off inside the Soviet end. There's Lidster. Instead, he's from Kamloops, British Columbia, played university hockey at Colorado College. That was 7th-round draft choice of the Vancouver Canucks in 1980. As I say, we've got some people here who can play for this Team Canada, young players. Here's Pervukin. Pervukin working on a 2-on-1 now, gets it back, shoots it, and a skate save is made by Gosselin with 7 seconds left in the hockey game. Out comes Tippett. Tippett trying to move it ahead, and he can't get over the line as he is taken out of the play by Villiers. Lets it off, and that's the hockey game. And the Soviet Union has defeated Canada by a score of 4-0. And Tom, all things considered, you have to think the Team Canada gave it 100%, gave it everything they could possibly give, and in the end, 4-0 is a pretty good result.
Well, not only that, what they have done is going into the final game against Sweden, it does give Team Canada an edge when they're playing Sweden in that game on Sunday. If we tie or win that game, we get the bronze medal. A tie gives us the medal because the goal differentiation now, Canada is -8, Sweden is -11 in the series. So what happens is a win or a tie for Canada against Sweden will give us the bronze medal, and it sets up the final game between Czechoslovakia and the Soviet Union, who will play for the gold medal in the second game